From blockbuster trades that vanished into thin air to franchise icons like Mike Evans finding new homes, the first couple weeks of free agency has had quite the notable start. Now that things have slowed down and we've all had time to process it all, here are three of the biggest winners and losers of free agency in the first couple of weeks. If you like video essays like this one and want to see more, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. It's free, it would help me out a lot, I'd appreciate it. But with that out of the way, let's start with our biggest winners. To clarify, I don't have a particular order, but I want to start with the Tennessee Titans. I almost left them off this list, and I'll get to that in a bit, but it's hard to deny what the Titans have done so far, being the biggest spenders in free agency. Coming off of a horrid 3-14 season, they need good football players, and they wasted no time investing on the defensive side of the ball, giving out multiple splashy deals like John Franklin Myers to pair next Jeffrey Simmons. On the interior, it's a 3-year, $63 million contract. This is one of the best interior duos in the league on paper. Also want to give a slight nod for the Jermaine Johnson trade. I think that was a really good move, and considering that all you gave up was Devondre Sweat to get him, for the value, that's an absolute steal. Another area for Tennessee that where they really spent money on was corner. In my opinion, that was the biggest de facto need on the team. They went out and got Alontae Taylor and Cordell Flott, and now the unit that had almost nothing has some quality that can really benefit with the talent they now have up front. Now, the Titans didn't do a lot on the offensive side of the ball because they have some good young offensive playmakers, but they did go out and bring in some depth at O-line, tight end, and bring in receiver Wan'Dale Robinson, 4 years, $70 million, reuniting him with Brian Daboll. Coming off his first 1,000-yard season in back-to-back years with over 90 catches, Robinson will be a reliable security blanket and chain mover for Cam Ward. I think Robinson has a chance to have a really good year in 2026. Now I want to acknowledge why I almost took them off this list, and it's because of the second week of free agency, they did next to nothing. And with the holes on the offensive line, they've just kind of let it be. With Cam Ward going into a critical year too, I feel like there should have been more aggressiveness, especially with the offensive line. I mean, that's the most important thing for Cam Ward, is to build around him and give him the best possible situation. That doesn't really fit the bill. But overall, they've done a lot of good things, and they're still trending upward, but it's hard to gloss over the questionable parts so far these first couple of weeks. Now let's bounce to a team that had a down year and is looking to get back to their 2024 success, and that is the Washington Commanders. 2025 was a rough year. Straight up, they dealt with a ton of injuries, including quarterback Jaden Daniels, and their defense was one of the worst in the league. It culminated in a 5-12 season. So far, they have done exactly what they've needed to begin fixing these issues, though. Starting on the offensive side, they extended tackle Larry Tunsil to a 2-year, $60 million deal. That's really good, and they also brought back Andrew Wiley and Nick Allegretti. I think that makes a ton of sense for them. They also added depth to their skill positions. They've added players like running back Rashad White. They brought back receiver De'Ami Brown and brought in tight end Chigakonkwo. They brought in cheap, solid value, and they raised the floor of their offense. The Commanders' real big bucks, though, went to defensive end edge rusher Odafe Owe, 4 years, $100 million. And Owe is a guy who's gotten better year after year, and they need someone who can really get after the quarterback. To note, they also brought in K'Lavon Chaisson, Charles Omenihu. They brought in defensive tackles Tim Settle to help round out their defensive line a little better. They added Leo Chenal at linebacker, and then in the secondary, Amik Robertson and Nick Cross. This is a good haul of players that will make this defense better in 2026. The biggest takeaway here is durability with these players. These guys that Washington have brought in do not miss games, and a healthy Commanders team will be significantly better than their 2025 team. They still have a ways to go, but these first couple of weeks were a great first step in the right direction. Moving now to my third biggest winner, that would be the boys in silver and black, the Las Vegas Raiders. They too spent a lot in free agency, and while they brought in the least amount of players on this list, it's what's come after their moves that puts them here, and we'll start with that, because Max Crosby will remain a Raider, and I get it. He's due a lot of money. The trade value went down significantly with the Ravens backing out of the trade, but that is still a foundational piece of your team, and if you can't get rid of him, you might as well let him elevate your entire defense and looking who they've actually signed, there is a lot of room for optimism. They went out and got linebackers Quay Walker and Nakobe Dean, former Georgia Bulldog teammates, check that out, on 3-year deals worth $40 million and $36 million respectively. They brought in edge Kwity Paye. They also traded for corner Taron Johnson from Buffalo. Now the Raiders have a little more to work with. The offense is a little more set in my opinion, but nothing is more set than Tyler Linderbaum's bank account getting a 3-year $81 million deal done, the highest paid contract to any interior offensive lineman ever, and their long-term anchor on the O-line is set. The Raiders also handed out a 3-year $35 million deal for receiver Jalen Naylor. That's a good receiver, and you add that to Brock Bowers, Trey Tucker, Jack Beck, Dante Thornton, and now you have plenty of weapons for a future first overall pick Fernando Mendoza. You don't have that number one receiver quite yet, but you have some quality players, and that's an overall good depth chart to me. The Raiders truly have a golden opportunity here to finally make things right, and it'll take a matter of time. It'll be a matter of time, but after these first couple of weeks of free agency, I think they're a team that is trending upward. All right, now we got to move to the losers, and this will be controversial, but I think the Ravens are massive losers in free agency. The whole debacle with backing out of the Max Crosby trade wasn't just shocking, it was unprecedented, and while it was understandable at first with the medicals that have come out, but immediately signing Trey Hendrickson right after seems distasteful, dare I say suspect. Eric DeCosta said they plan on getting Crosby and Hendrickson. I'm going to be honest, I don't fully believe that. It would be foolish to spend all of your cap on the same position. The Ravens are in a good spot, but they're not that good. They're not that close to be taking a risk like that, in my opinion. One thing is for certain, though, their front office's reputation has been put into question. And depending on how Max Crosby plays, we'll know if they were right to pull all their eggs out of that basket, or were they playing chicken. That alone, though, doesn't make them a loser. It's the fact that they lost so many players in the process of acquiring Max Crosby. Baltimore lost 10 starters/contributing players on their team, and to lose them all for essentially nothing, not getting Crosby at all. Is Trey Hendrickson really worth losing all those players? That's debatable, honestly, but the bottom line is, this offseason for the Ravens, with everything that's went down, has been a total disaster, and for a team that's looking to retake the AFC North and re-cement themselves as a contender, this is not a great start at all. The next biggest loser on this list is on here for a slightly different reason, and that's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and here's why. Growing up in Tampa, I'll tell you right now, I am very much aware of the impact Mike Evans has had on this team, in this community. There's also no doubting how much he loves the Bucs. But for him to leave the team and go to San Francisco, I think that says something about how he views the team and their direction. And look at this, they fired a lot of their coaches on their staff and kept Todd Bowles around, which that's not common for something like that to happen, and it's a pretty volatile move, and the Bucs pretty much strapped a bomb to their chest. And I think that had a role in Evans leaving, and regardless of the true reason, if he doesn't view the team as a contender, do with that information what you will. But going analytical here, looking at what they've lost in Mike Evans, Jamel Dean, Rachaad White, and then adding Kenneth Gainwell and Alex Anzalone, right now that is a net loss. And I get it, not really much cap space. I mean, there's not much you can do, no true big fault there. However, they have gotten worse when the NFC has gotten better. The Saints are a better football team, still not better than Tampa though, in my opinion. Atlanta with a new head coach, that's interesting depending on how you view Kevin Stefanski. But the real worry here is Carolina, because they added Devin Lloyd, they added Jalen Phillips, although $120 million is insane, to a defense that made strides last year. And as it looks now, Tampa's foundation appears to be cracked. And so far through the first couple of weeks of free agency, that bomb's a ticking. Lastly, my third biggest loser is the Indianapolis Colts, and I'm going to say it, trading Michael Pittman Jr. to give Alec Pierce $29 million per season is dumb. He is nowhere near worth that type of money after going for 1,000 yards once and was primarily used as a designated deep threat. He's not even a fully complete receiver that can win in all areas of the field, which that's not his fault. That's not on Alec Pierce. But I can't justify the move in any way. And then you get to Daniel Jones, and I mean, dude, 2 years, $88 million for a guy who tore his Achilles, probably won't be ready for the season. You can't roll with nothing, and there wasn't that many better options out there in free agency, but these two contracts are very risky. Add in, they have no first round picks this year and next year. Their move to go all in last year, fell flat on its face, and now they're stuck in mediocrity once again. Being fair to their free agency, because I want to acknowledge some good here, the rest of it was solid. They brought in Derek Nottie, traded for defensive tackle Colby Wooden to help go behind Grover Stewart, DeForest Buckner. That's a really strong interior. I like that a lot. And also, with trading for Colby Wooden, getting rid of Zaire Franklin, I can understand it a little bit more than I initially did. From what I've understood, the scheme fit last year was not great, and with him being due a lot of money, if they think that's best for both parties, more power to them. Overall, the Colts are taking really big risks that could keep them stuck in the middle, and honestly, it overshadows some of the genuine good that this team has done throughout the first couple of weeks. And just like that, that is a wrap on today's video. Who are your biggest winners and losers in free agency? Do you agree or disagree with my list? Leave a comment down below. I love seeing what y'all have to say. And one more time, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It would help me out a lot. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Have a great day. And as always, I will see you all next time.